وذكر فإن الذكرى تنفع المؤمنين.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن نهج نهجهم بإحسان إلى يوم النشور. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم معلم إبراهيم علمنا ومفهما سليمان فهمنا. وبعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. In our previous dars, we dealt with the issue of the Adhan and the Iqamah and how it was introduced, the origin of the Iqamah and the regulations pertaining to its execution. And we started by definition of Iqamah and the Adhan, and we are going to start from where we left off. So I'm going to ask you to start reading. وَقَدْ جَاءَتْ أَحَادِيثُ
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وقد جاءت أحاديث في فضل الآذان وأن المؤذنين أطول الناس أعناقا يوم القيامة.
نعم. وقد جاءت أحاديث في فضل الآذان وأن المؤذنين أطول الناس أعناقا يوم القيامة. There are many hadith, various hadith, numerous hadiths that establish the virtue or the virtues of what? Of the Adhan, as well as those who proclaim the Adhan, al-Muadhineen. There are those who call the Adhan, they invite Muslim believers to come and perform Salah. Now, one of the virtues that أطول الناس أعناقا يوم القيامة. They shall be the ones who will have long necks on the day of judgment. Someone might ask, what is the significance? What is the virtue concerning having long neck? Don't forget, on the day of judgment, when people shall be suffocating, they shall be drenched in what? In their own sweat because of the heat, the excessive heat of that day. On that scorching moment, people shall be granted, those who believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they shall be granted shade from the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when your neck is above sea level, above what? Drowning in your own sweat, is it not a virtue? It is a virtue. So to have a long neck, you shall be towering now above all others when people are suffering, being saturated with what? With excessive heat. Now, so it is a virtue. So this is a virtue that has been designated for or promised those who are used, have been given to what? Calling the Adhan, inviting people to come pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And after all, the Adhan is designed. The Adhan consists of what? The monotheism of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, expressing what? The importance and significance of what? Belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the Prophet, and also the significance of Salah. So the Adhan is a virtue, and those who carry out the Adhan are rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, and as we said, those virtues are designated, have been allotted to those who make the Adhan. Now, والأذان والإقامة
والآذان والإقامة فرض كفاية.
نعم. والأذان والإقامة فرض كفاية. Now, this is showing the merit of Adhan. What is Adhan? Is it Sunnah? Is it Fard? There's something, or there's an issue, there's a category that is called Fardu Kifaya. What is Fardu Kifaya? In the first place, Fardu is that which is obligatory. That Salah is obligatory. Every individual Muslim is supposed to undertake Salah. And if you don't make your Salah, you are going to account for it. you are going to penalize by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for not making salah. No one can make salah for another. So it is an individual worship, only except that it is made in what? In congregation. Now, but fardu kifaya, it is fardu, but if there are some people who carry it out, and there are others who are not able to carry out, the entire Muslim community shall not be penalized. But if no one carries it at all, then the entirety of the community shall be susceptible to what? To the chastisement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of those things is what? Like janaza, fardu kifaya. Janaza, is everyone supposed to go out for janaza? But janaza has to be undertaken anyway. Janaza has to be prayed, carried out by the Muslims. So if there are some Muslims who are gifted, blessed with the opportunity to do the janaza, they shall be rewarded, and those who are not able, they shall not have been. They don't have any blame. They are not blameworthy. This is what we call fardu kifaya. So he says that wal adhan wal iqamah fardu kifaya. So he's talking about two issues here: adhan and then iqamah. Fardu kifaya. Both of them are what we call fardu kifaya, obligatory upon a section of the Muslim community. Now,
وفرض كفاية ما يلزم جميع المسلمين إقامته.
Now, so it's further detailing out. He says, وفرض الكفاية ما يلزم جميع المسلمين إقامته. Now, he says the fardu kifaya, it is such that not all the believing Muslims are supposed to do it. Some may do it, some may not do it. Now, so it is not obligatory upon every member of the community to carry it out. Now,
فإذا قام به من يكفي سقط الإثم عن الباقي.
فإذا قام به من يكفي, if a considerable numbers, if some brothers are able to carry it out, alhamdulillah, then the number is sufficient. If you have maybe janaza, for example, there are about maybe 15 people to carry out janaza, that is fine. Now, but the more the brothers are to carry out janaza, the better it is, and it's more rewarding and more enhancing also. Now, that is sufficient if some are able to carry it out. Now,
وهما من شعائر الإسلام الظاهرة.
نعم. وهما من شعائر الإسلام الظاهرة. It's one of the manifest, clear, conspicuous symbols of Islam. In other words, you see it being done, you see the Adhan being called, you see the Iqamah being held. No, you should know that they constitute, they are embodiment of the outward and clear, conspicuous word, symbols of the deed. Now, they are not hidden, you can see it now.
وهما مشروعان في حق الرجال حضارا وسفرا للصلوات الخمس.
نعم. هما مشروعان في حق الرجال حضارا وسفرا. So the Adhan and Iqamah are both legislated and legal, are permitted for what? Men, either they are traveling or they are not traveling, either in their localities or when they are on journey. It is allowed for them to what? To make the Adhan and the Iqamah when it is time for Salah. And all the Salah, the 5 Salahs.
يقاتل أهل بلد تركوها.
يقاتل أهل بلد تركوها. If a community, a locality, is not carrying out Adhan and Iqamah, then they shall be penalized. Now, they shall be penalized, they shall be fought, they shall be made to what? To come to terms with what? Carrying out the Adhan and then the Iqamah.
لأنهما من شعائر الإسلام الظاهرة فلا يجوز
Because the two of them form part of the symbols of Islam that are conspicuous, and therefore they cannot be neglected. They cannot be what? Ignored. They have to be carried out now.
والصفات المعتبرة في المؤذن أن يكون سيدا.
Now, والصفات المعتبرة في المؤذن, the characteristics that the muadhin should have, the qualities are such that أن يكون سيدا, they should be what? A muadhin should be what? Loud in voice, stentorian. He has to have a clear-cut, loud, strong voice now, so that he could be heard. Why? لأنه
أبلغ في الأعلام آمنا.
لأنه أبلغ في الإعلام أمينا. Because when a person has a strong, loud voice, he can reach far. He can reach far with his voice. Aminan, and also he has to be what? Someone who is trustworthy, someone who can be trusted to what? To carry out the functions of Adhan. Now,
لأنه مؤتمن يعتبر أذانه في دخول وقت الصلاة والصيام والإفطار.
نعم، لأنه مؤتمن يعتبر أذانه في دخول وقت الصلاة والصيام والإفطار, because he should be depended upon. People rely upon him to announce the time of Salah at the same time of Siyam, fasting also. So their function is very important. Through their function, we are able to determine what time it is for Salah and also what time it is for fasting. That's why they have to what? They have to be some people that can be trusted now, independent and relied upon now.
ويكون عالما بالوقت.
And should know what time is about. They should know what time means. They should know the details about timing. Now is to have knowledge of what constitutes time now.
ليؤذن في أوله.
So that they should be able to call the time, the Adhan, when it is what? Time for the worship, which is Salah, or when it's time for fasting as well. They should be conversant with time, knowledge of time.
والآذان 15 جملة.
The Adhan itself consists of 15 sentences. والأذان 15 جملة, 15 sentences from which you can quote the Adhan. So Adhan consists of 15 sentences. What are they?
كما كان بلال يؤذن به بحضرة رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم دائما.
كما كان بلال يؤذن به بحضرة رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم دائما. This, according to how the Bilal used to call the Adhan in the presence of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When you detail it out, it consists of 15 words, 15 sentences, and that is how the Bilal was calling the Adhan in the presence of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
ويستحب أن يتمهل بألفاظ الأذان من غير تمطين ولا مد مفرط.
نعم. ويستحب أن يتمهل بألفاظ الأذان من غير تمطيط ولا مد مفرط. So, in calling the Adhan, he should make sure that he does not prolong it so much as to extend the limits prescribed for the Adhan. Neither she should cut it so short as to what? Lose the melody of it also. Now, so he should what? Between prolonging it and not what? Cutting it what? Short. Because sometimes you call the Adhan, you extend the prolongation beyond limits. It is not the sunnah of Rasulullah. Call it as Bilal did in the presence of Rasulullah. And what he did was that he made it in between prolonging it and not prolonging it. Right? He took a middle course now. So do not extend the prolongation of the words that will exceed the limits set by the sunnah of Rasulullah.
ويقف على كل جملة.
Now, this is important. ويقف على كل جملة من. He has to stop at every sentence. After every sentence, he has to stop. He shouldn't what? Continue and then put all the sentences together. But after every sentence, you need to stop. You need to pause now, and then take some breath and then continue.
ويستحب أن يستقبل القبلة حال الأذان.
At the time when it's called the Adhan, يستحب أن يستقبل القبلة حال الأذان, that he should try his best to what? To face the Qibla. So it is sunnah to face the Qibla at the time you are calling the Adhan.
ويجعل أصبعين ويجعل الأصبعين في أذنيه.
And then places 2 fingers in his ear. His 2 fingers in his ear as he calls the Adhan facing the Qibla.
لأنه أرفع للصوت.
Why? لأنه أرفع للصوت. It helps to raise the voice. It helps what? To raise the voice. If you have 2 fingers in your ears, it helps what? To raise the voice, carry out the voice far now.
ويلتفت يمينا عنده قوله حي على الصلاة وشمالا عند قوله حي على الفلاح.
ويلتفت يمينا عند قوله حي على الصلاة. At the time he is calling out حي على الصلاة, he needs to turn to the right. حي على الصلاة. As he says حي على الصلاة, turn to the right, and then حي على الفلاح, turning what? To the left. This he has to do.
ويقول بعد حي على الفلاح من آذان الفجر الثانية.
When it is time for the Adhan for Fajr, he will add, after Hayya ala Salah, Hayya ala Falah, he will also need to add what?
خاصة الصلاة خير من النوم مرتين لأمره صلى الله عليه وسلم بذلك.
No. So, as-salatu khairu min an-nawm maratin. We should say that salah, that the prayer is what? Is better than sleep. You should say 2 times after Hayya ala Falah, 2 times, just in Fajr, because of the directive of Rasulullah. Because he said that Rasulullah ordered that Hayya ala Salah, as-salatu khairu min an-nawm, be said after Hayya ala Falah in the Adhan of Al-Fajr.
لأنه وقت ينام الناس فيه غالبا.
Because it says that لأنه وقت ينام الناس فيه غالبا is the time when most people are asleep. When most people are asleep, so we say that as-salat khairu min an-nawm, you are reminding them indeed salah is better than sleep. True or false? It is. So maybe when they hear that, they might be what? Prompted they might be what? Encouraged what? To get up for salah. Now,
ولا يجوز زيادة على ألفاظ الآذان بأذكار أخرى قبله ولا بعده.
ولا يجوز الزيادة على ألفاظ الأذان بأذكار أخرى قبله ولا بعده. It is not permitted to add some words before and after the Adhan, because some people, they are in the habit of adding some words before the Adhan and after the Adhan, as opposed to what our Rasulullah had accepted in the presence of what Bilal. Our Rasulullah, when he ordered Bilal to call the Adhan, our Rasulullah was supervising. He heard Bilal, the words, and he endorsed those words without any additions or subtractions. And then someone comes, and then instead of stopping at where the Prophet paused, he went further by bringing additions from himself before the Adhan and after the Adhan. This is not permitted by our Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he should stop where our Rasul did stop now.
لأن ذلك من البدع المحدثة.
لأن ذلك من البدع المحدثة. Such actions constitute what? Are tantamount to what? Bid'ah, innovations that are shunned, that are disliked and censured by our Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, because Islam has nothing to do with those innovations, either by way of subtractions or additions, because the lawgiver, our Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, has given this what? The best example, that all that we have to do is what? To follow the example of our Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, can we bring words better than our Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam? If there is any such words that will benefit the Ummah, our Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam will never have failed to what? To give us. So he laid down the foundation. It is done. All that we have to do is to follow the sunnah of our Rasul. Even in Adhan, it is so important now.
فكل ما يفعل غير الآذان الثابت عن الرسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم.
فكل ما يفعل غير الأذان الثابت عن الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم فهو بدعة محرمة. So anything, either by way of Adhan, and all things that are done without the sanction of or direction of Nabiullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then it is bid'ah and it is forbidden, it is wrong. Now,
فهو بدعة محرمة كالتسبيح والنشيد والدعاء والصلاة والسلام.
Though such things you might hear, it may crop up, and people have attested to that at tasbih, maybe someone is going to call Adhan, and then he starts tasbih, or about Adhan he says tasbih, or nasheed. Sometimes he goes into what? Even singing, or nasheed, or poetry, and things like that. Subhanallah. For the Adhan or after the Adhan, such actions are not warranted, they are not allowed. Or dua, of course, if there's a dua has to be sanctioned and endorsed by the Rasul. And when after the Adhan is called, do we say dua? Then if we say dua, like what? What is the dua that we say? Allahumma Rabbana tabatul nam. That which has been what? Endorsed and sanctioned by Rasul. Not just dua, or making tasbih, or singing, bringing songs, or poetry, or salam, and things that are created and innovated without what? The order of Rasul. In other words, we have to work within what? The confines of the order of Rasul. And this is Islam. Anything other than, over the ambit of the deen is not acceptable. No. So we have to be on our guard. No.
على الرسول جهرا قبل الآذان أو بعد كل ذلك محدث مبتدع
كل ذلك محدثة مبتدع ويحرم فعله
يحرم فعله ويجب إنكاره على من يفعل.
All of this is not allowed, and anyone who does it must be discouraged from doing that. Now, it should be shown that this is not allowed, and the Sunnah of Rasulullah shuns it. Now.
والإقامة إحدى عشرة جملة.
And as for the Iqamah, it consists of 11 jumla of 11 sentences. We said the Iqamah, the Adhan, we identify Adhan, we said the Adhan consists of how many sentences? 15. And now we come to the Iqamah, it consists of 11 sentences. What are they?
يحذرها أي يسرع فيها لأنما إعلام الحاضرين.
So we find out that the difference is that يحذرها, in other words, he should say it what? Faster, be nimble, be swift. Why? Because people are waiting. The Muslims, they are waiting to start their salah. And then you come there to call Adhan while they are waiting. No. You should what? Hasten when you are calling the Iqamah as opposed to what? The Adhan. Adhan, you are got to take a middle course, not exceeding the limit and not to make it too short either. Now, so it comes to Iqamah, you have to make what you call al-hadar, you have to hasten so that people will get to their salah. فلا
داعي للترصد فيها.
So there's no need for you to just keep prolonging it as far as your voice can reach. No, you have to hasten in calling the Iqamah. ويستحب
أن يطول الإقامة إقامة من تولى الآذان.
ويستحب أن يتولى الإقامة من تولى الأذان. It is appropriate, it is better that the one who calls the Adhan should call what? The Iqamah. It is better that the one who calls the Adhan should call the Iqamah. Now,
ولا يقيم إلا بإذن الإمام لأن الإقامة منوطة بنظر الإمام فلا تقام إلا بإشارته.
ولا يقيم إلا بإذن الإمام. You call the Iqamah with what? The permission of what? The Imam. لأن الإقامة منوط وقتها بنظر الإمام فلا تقام إلا بإشارته. So the Adhan is to be called because the Imam is ready. Now if the Imam is not ready, how can you go and then call the Iqamah? But the Muazzin should watch the movement of the Imam. So the Imam will give what? The direction that what the Iqamah should be called. The Imam should order the Adhan with the call. Now, the Iqamah, the Imam is waiting, is ready. The Muazzin should keep watching the Imam, the direction, the movement of the Imam, because they cannot be what Iqamah without the Imam. Now, so the Muazzin should be careful, should be very watchful, and then he should be should be searching for the Imam, his position, his directions, Sometimes he can use the signal. It doesn't matter, but he should not precede the Imam. He should also wait for the what? The coming of the Imam. Imam is available, then we will go ahead to what? Call the Iqamah. Now, فَلَا تُقَامُ إِلَّا بِشَهَادَةٍ. As we have said, you cannot call the Iqamah without the signal what? Of the Imam. The Imam should signal out Iqamah just by hand, if possible, any form of ishara, that is a sign, so that it will usher in signal what? The commencement what? Of the Iqamah, which comes immediately before the Salah.
ولا يجزئ الآذان قبل الوقت.
نعم. ولا يجزئ الأذان قبل الوقت. That is, there cannot be Adhan or Iqamah before what? Before the time of Salah. When it is not time for Salah, there is no Adhan. There is no Adhan. So Adhan only happens when it is time for Salah. Now, why?
لأنه شرع للإعلام بدخوله.
Because the Adhan is legislated, is legalized what? To announce the coming of what? Of the Salah. Now, so if it is not time for Salah, and then you go to call the Adhan, it's going to be misleading, and you don't want to mislead the public. Now,
فلا يحصل به المقصود.
So it is counterproductive, it is not beneficial for Adhan to be called before it's time for Salah. Now,
ولأن ما فيه تغييرا لمن يسمعه.
Because it's going to sound different for anyone who hears it. Somebody hears the Adhan, he will hasten to make Salah. And it's different from what is the truth. The truth that it is not time for Salah now. So the Adhan should only be called for when it is time for Salah, in the neighborhood of Salah, not far away. It is not time for Salah, so that the Adhan is called. Someone who hears the Adhan may be prompted to make the Adhan, assuming he's somewhere he cannot come to the masjid. He hears the Adhan has been called. He may start making Salah, and it's not time for Salah, because not everyone can come to the masjid. Now, assuming he wants to make Salah itself, he has some appointments. He comes to the masjid. He wants to make Salah at that time so that he can proceed on with his appointment. He comes to Salah, the masjid, there's no one in the masjid, because the Adhan has been called far before the Salah is up. So the Salah is up, is ushered in, is brought in with what? With the pronouncement and proclamation of the Adhan. So the Adhan has to be called so that everyone is alerted that it is time for Salah.
إلا أذان الفجر فيجوز تقديمه قبل الصبح.
إلا أذان الفجر فيجوز تقديمه قبل الصبح, except the Adhan of Fajr. As for that one, it is permissible to call the Adhan long before the time for Salah. So it is first Adhan to get them awake. When once they are awake, then what? Another Adhan will what? Usher in the actual time for Salah. So it doesn't matter at all. It is okay that you call the Adhan for Fajr. One Adhan, people are still asleep, right? The first Adhan is what? Get them up. First Adhan. So that is possible. Now,
ليتأهب الناس لصلاة الفجر لكن ينبغي أن يؤذن يؤذن أذانا آخر عند طلوع الفجر.
Like we said, ليتأهب الناس للصلاة الفجر, so that people should be ready for salah. لكن ينبغي أن يؤذن أذانا آخر عند طلوع الفجر, but this is not sufficient. When it's time for salah, fajr itself, actual salah, there should be another word, adhan, to make sure that they're in the masjid and then they get ready for their salah. So 2 adhans. The first to get them awake. Once they are awake, they dress, they put everything together, do everything together, they get prepared for their salah. Then, and the second adhan to make sure that the adhan, second adhan is in the masjid, so that the imam takes his position, and then the muadhin also calls the Iqamah for salah to begin. Now, so the second adhan, the brothers are right in the masjid, and it is time for them to what? To make salah. Now.
ليعرف الناس دخول الوقت وحلول الصلاة والصيام.
So the same thing happens to fasting also. Fasting also, the imam can call the adhan. The second adhan should mean that word. It is time for people to either stop their food. Once the imam calls muadhin for salah, second salah, it is time for salah. The muadhin calls the second adhan, it is time for salah. Then suhoor, you have to make sure that you don't continue to eat while the suhoor is over. Now,
ويسن لمن سمع المؤذن إجابته.
so it is encouraged. ويسن لمن سمع المؤذن إجابته. So we had said earlier on before that any duas or any poems and things like that before the adhan is an innovation, or after the adhan is innovation. But here there's a specific dua that goes after or during the time the adhan is being called. So here's the sunnah. It's the words chosen by Rasulullah himself. Now,
بأن يقول مثل ما يقول ويقول عنده حي على الصلاة وحي على الفلاح لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله.
And this is what people know. ويقول عند حي على الصلاة وحي على الفلاح لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. And as soon as the muadhin is saying Allah Akbar, just say what he's saying. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. Now, and then when he reaches حي على الصلاة, you say لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. Now, also when he says حي على الفلاح, you say the same thing. حي على لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. Now, so you just follow what muadhin is saying. So respond to what the muadhin is saying in that manner. But ثم يقول بعد يفرغ مؤذن
ثم يقول بعدما يفرغ المؤذن اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة وابعثه مقاما محمودا الذي وعده.
So you say this dua, اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة, O Lord of these perfect, consummate words, وصلاة القائمة, and this prayer that is up right now, آتِ محمدا, grant Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam al-wasila wal-fadila, grant him the intersection, the highest level, high stature, higher level that you have promised him, وَبَعْثُ مَقَامَ مُدَلْ وَعْتَوْ, and then let him have the noble station that you have promised him. O Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, grant him, let him achieve that, let him attain that. This is in recognition of what? of the stature of Rasulullah is dua is expected from everyone who hears the Adhan. Now, there are the additions also, but we are keeping to what the Shaykh is saying here now. There are other additions, in other words, now that are accepted also. Or there's another, for example, when the Muazzin say La ilaha illallah, for example, you see that La ilaha illallah indeed, La ilaha illallah, the same thing, Washadallah La illallah. You see that, and I also testify that there's no deity but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then you say this now, and then you can say that also that Raditu billahi rabban wa bi Muhammadin sallallahu alaihi wa rasulan wa bil Islam dinan. I testify that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is indeed our Lord, and that Prophet Muhammad is the messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that you also testify that what Islam is our deen, is our religion. All these things are being reported. So please, if you hear anyone making addition with these words, do not fight. It is allowed now. But we are keeping to what the Shaykh is saying, rahimahullah, jazakallahu khairan. So inshallah, at least you get to say this. And there's another one too that you can see after this. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin salat al-Ibrahimiyya. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد كما صليت على ابراهيم وعلى ابراهيم انك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى محمد كما باركت على ابراهيم وعلى ابراهيم انك حميد مجيد. You can also see that now, which is solid also. It is allowed now.
ويحرم خروج من المسجد بعد الآذان بلا عذر أو نية رجوع.
ويحرم الخروج من المسجد بعد الأذان بلا عذر أو نية رجوع. It is not permitted that you hear the Adhan and then you leave the masjid and you don't even intend to come back. Subhanallah. It is, you are in the masjid, you hear the Adhan. When you hear the Adhan, what do you do after hearing the Adhan? That you are getting ready to make salah. Instead, you leave the masjid without making intention to come back. That is wrong. Now, so that we have to be attentive to that. Now,
وإذا شرع المؤذن في الآذان والإنسان جالس فلا ينبغي له أن يقوم بل يصبر حتى يفرغ لئلا يتشبه بالشيطان.
No. Yes, another issue. وإذا شرع المؤذن في الأذان, if the muadhin starts calling the adhan, والإنسان جالس, and he is a brother sitting down, فلا ينبغي له أن يقوم. It is not right for him, it's not appropriate for him to stand up. If the muadhin is calling the adhan and you are sitting down, do not get up. Why do you get up? بل يصبر حتى يفرغ لئلا يتشبه بالشيطان. You should wait until what? The muazzin finishes the adhan. Then he can come up, he can get up to do what? When you get up after the muazzin says the adhan, what do? You make nawafil, you make salah. You can make salah, whatever salah you want. Nawafil, taqta'un, mashallah. Before what? As for anyone who makes salah between the adhan and the iqamah, that dua is not, is acceptable. It's very efficacious for what? For Allah to accept it. No. So it is answerable between the iqamah and the adhan. So once you are sitting down, the muadhin is calling adhan, don't get up, but after he's finished, then you get up and then what? Make your salah, inshallah. So
وينبغي للمسلم إذا سمع الآذان أن يتوجه إلى المسجد ويترك سائر الأعمال الدنيوية.
وينبغي للمسلم إذا سمع الأذان أن يتوجه إلى المسجد ويترك سائر الأعمال الدنيوية. So you hear the adhan, be focused, constantly contemplate the adhan, and cleanse your heart of all mundane things. all these earthly things, all material things, leave them alone and concentrate on what? On the Adhan, and that can lead to, okay, that can lead to what? That can lead to further concentration. You want to finish this one?
قال الله تعالى في بيوت أذن الله أن ترفع ويذكر فيها اسمه يسبح له فيها بالغدو والآصال رجال لا تلهيهم تجارة ولا بيع عن ذكر الله وإقام الصلاة وإيتاء الزكاة يخافون يوما تتقلب فيه القلوب والأبصار.
في بيوت أذن الله أن ترفع واذكر فيها اسمه, in houses that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allowed to be erected, not to be built. What are those houses? The houses, they are masajid. Allah is referring to them as houses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the masajid are houses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يُسَبُّ لَهُ فِيهَا بِالْغُدُوِّ وَالْآصَالِ, in which what? People celebrate the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in these houses, in this masajid. Who are these people who continuously, constantly dedicate themselves what? To celebration and the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who are they? Rijal. They are men. لا تلهيهم تجارة ولا بيع عن ذكر الله والصلاة وإيتاء الزكاة. Men who are never hindered, they are not impeded, they are not stopped by what? Neither merchandise, what? To celebrate Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala name or to establish Allah. They are men, no matter what happened, no matter how they are immersed and engaged in commerce, they leave the commerce and trade in order to what? To make salah. And you are here, it is time for salah, the adhan has been proclaimed, and then instead of waiting for salah to commence, you leave. So this is the evidence against anyone who hears the adhan, and instead of sitting in the masjid to make salah, he leaves the masjid without intention to come back. So it is not permitted. May Allah make his own also. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
وما خلقت الجن والإنس إلا ليعبدون ما أريد منهم من رزق وما أريد أن يطعمون إن الله هو الرزاق ذو القوة